Okay, so last time, who gave the summary of the lectures that we studied? Who gave the summary that we studied? Was it Anita? No, it was not Anita. Ram, हाँ, Ram ने दिया था. So Anita, am I audible? Yeah. Okay, so you now give me the quick summary of what we've studied in the last lecture.
Ma'am, you taught us the history of Java, that it was developed in Sun Microsystems Laboratory back in 1991.
Anita, please turn on your camera. ओके बताइए हमारे क्विक समरी दो कि क्या क्या पढ़ा टॉपिक ना. एंड इट्स ओके इफ यू आर लुकिंग एट योर कॉपी. अगर आप कॉपी में देख के बता रहे हो तो कोई इश्यूज नहीं, देख के बता सकते हो. बस इतना बता दो कि क्या क्या पढ़ा है.
Now you told us about the features of Java, compile.
अनीता, Anita, am I audible? Let's not waste classes time. Acha, I think Anita is having some network issues. So Chandni, am I audible?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so Chandni, can you give me the quick summary of what we studied in the last lecture?
Ma'am, I was absent in the last class.
Okay, so Krishna, you? Krishna,
Ma'am, I
you?
was also.
Madan?
I was also.
Madan, you are also absent?
Yes, ma'am.
Pinju? I think Pinju was present. Pinju?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so आप बताइए what we studied in the last lecture.
Ma'am, I was having some network issue that day.
छोड़ो फिर. Okay, so leave it. So in the last lecture, we discussed about the journey of Java program, how it developed, how the idea popped up. One of your friend asked 3 questions that could help us connect with the past of the Java. कि क्यों Java? Why it was named Java? Why do we have the symbol of a cup of tea, cup of coffee in Java? Then we studied what are the different, how has Java evolved, what are the different Java paradigm, so that we can have its application in different areas. Okay. Then we studied what is Java. Then we studied the various features of Java. And then we studied writing of one simple hello world program in Java. And then what is the difference between public class and just class? Okay, so रिधिमा पहले मुझे जो summary है वो खत्म करने दीजिए, then I'll come back to your question. So why do we call it Java? What are the features of Java? And then we saw two programs, one small program for I think Hello World, and the other program was how to use inbuilt classes, right? For example, inbuilt methods. For example, we used math method that was present in the Lang. Okay. So with that we studied what is a package, how do we import, हमने package क्या है ये पढ़ लिया है, how do we import packages in libraries in the program that we have studied, and how do we differentiate between we studied in the last lecture the big package in Java is named as Java itself, and inside Java there are various packages, and these packages are the collection of classes and methods, right? So how to import a class from the package that we have learned, how to import a method from the class that we have learned, and given a imported library from the Java package, how do we differentiate which is method, which is class, and which is package also we have studied. Okay, so एक छोटा सा program करके I have introduced Java programs to you, that how does a Java program look like. Okay, so Ridhiman, your question is what is the difference between public class and just class? For that I'll give you something, but not in detail, क्योंकि उसको पढ़ने के लिए you need to know more about Java, and about this topic, about this question, the answer lies in the coming topic. Okay, so the topic is access specifier. Okay, access specifier, in the last lecture I've told you there are 4 types of access specifier: default, public, protected, and your private. Okay, so when we have just this class, when we declare just class, it means default, it's a default class. Okay, so here it is the public type, here the type is default, here the type is public. So you can also have ahead of class you can also write protected class, or you can write private class. Okay, so all these 4 has some meanings and some purpose. Okay, so that we will be discussing in the coming chapters, because if I'll discuss it now you will not be able to understand it wholly. Okay, so as of now just understand it is a class of type public, it is a class of type, that means it's a default class, a public class, a private class, and a protected class. ये सब पढ़ेंगे हम जब हम access specifier पढ़ेंगे. Okay, so is that okay, Ridhima? Okay, so class, let's start for today's lecture. Okay, so before I start with today's lecture, give me 5 or 6 minutes time. Okay, I'll be back in 5 to 6 minutes. Okay, class, am I audible?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so let's start today's lecture. Okay. Uh, okay, so I will tell you one more time the quick definition of why do we have the main function is public static void main in Java, because it's extremely important and most of the time students don't even remember it. So I'll start from there because most of you are not present. I'll do only a quick one. Okay, so we write static void main. We write main function like this in Java. Okay, so this means public static void main here. Where public is the keyword, which is an access specifier. That means what access means, how to access it. Okay, specifier means the type, one out of the various type. Okay, that we are going to see in the future, and it declares your main function as not private, as not protected, as not default. That means it is declared as public. Public means it's a public figure. What does that mean? It means it's visible and it's accessible to everyone. The information is for the public. Okay, so similarly when it is public, that means it is accessible to everyone. All the classes can access it. Okay, so next is your static. So the keyword static belongs to the entire class but not to the object. We know that when we declare something as the type object, it belongs to the small part, because but a class is a wholesome thing, but a instance is a small part of the class. So if we will declare main as one of the small part, we will not be able to access this entire class, but we need to access this entire class. So we have to make this main method, belong to the entire class but not to the object. So for that reason we have declared this main method as static. Void, you all of you know the void. It is a return type which does not return any value, but it simply prints some text to the screen. It does not returns anything. So here string, that means whatever command line arguments the main method gets, all of them will be considered as type string. अब क्यों है कैसे है, we have already discussed it in the last lecture. Okay, so this is the quick revision of how do we हमारा main method कैसे दिखता है और कैसे होता है. Okay, so now in today's lecture we are going to start with and if someone can turn on their mic, please turn off your mic, all of you. इसका on है, कोई भी mic on मत करना, disturb होता है. So in today's lecture we are going to study about your Java tokens. Okay, so it is many a times in many books also referred as lexical issues. Okay, the topic of the day, first topic of the day is Java tokens, also known as lexical issues. What is it? Now we know that like your C program, even your Java program is a collection of many things. But if we have to look at the broader picture, then your Java program is a collection of classes. Okay, so what is a class? How do we define a class? We define a class as a set of declaration statements. This may we have methods, and methods includes executable statements. Okay. And we know that when we talk about methods, when we talk about declaration part of any of the data type, then it includes various types of expressions, various types of words, okay, various types of space, comma, plus signs, colons. In for loop we have a semicolon as the separator and all this. Okay, so these are the smaller tokens. Okay, these are the smaller tokens that completes your Java program, or many a times it is called as lexical issues, because if you will not take care of this comma, semicolon, opening braces, etc carefully, okay, spaces carefully, then your program will generate some error. Okay, so because of this reason it is called as issues of the lexicals. That means issues of various things in the Java. So what are the various things that we have to take care of, and what are those tokens? What are those tokens which can yield to lexical issues, some syntactical issues? That is called as your Java tokens or lexical issues. Okay. So the first Java issue, Java tokens or lexical issue that we have is your reserved words. Okay. So the second is your identifiers. Third is your literals. Fourth, Pinju. Pinju,
Yes, ma'am.
what are you doing? Please unmute your mic. You are disturbing the class.
Oh, sorry, ma'am.
The fourth is your operators. The fifth is your separators. If my spellings are wrong, please let me know, or you may ignore it. It's not that important. Okay. So these are the various smaller components, smaller tokens of the Java class Java. Okay, that is important and that are often ignored, or I've seen students executing lab programs. Okay, they get some error and they panic. Okay, उनको error मिलता है and they start panicking. But they don't put the habit of reading the errors. If you put the habit of reading the errors, it's clearly mentioned in line number 1 or in line number 20, a brace is expected, a white space is there, something like this. Okay, so these are the issues, lexical issues. That means such issues that are already defined in the compiler, that the Java already knows, and if anything such any error related to this Java token appears, it's clearly mentioned in your output box. Okay, you can read it and go for that particular type of issue and solve it. Okay, so that is what we are going to study in today's lecture. We are going to start with your reserved words. Okay, so we are going to start with your reserved words first. Okay, so now you already, now I'm not going to focus a lot on these topics because these topics are already known to you. I'm just going to give you a quick revision. It can be CSA, you already have studied it. What I'll just tell you what is the difference and what extra is there. Okay, so I believe in C you have 32 keywords. Okay, so I think in C you have 32 keywords. आप लोगों को keywords पता है? Do you guys know what is a keyword? Quickly write in the chat box, yes or no. Okay, thank you, Anita. Okay, everybody knows what's keywords. I'm not going to explain. Okay, so in C you have 32 keywords, but in Java you have 50 keywords. Okay, in Java we have a total of 50 keywords, and these keywords in Java we often use the term reserved word. So those who don't know, reserved words are those words which cannot be used for other purpose, like declaration of variables, declaration of methods. You cannot use these words to name a class, etc., etc. Okay, so reserved words we have 50. I'll not be able to name them all. You can look in the while preparing your notes, you can prepare it by yourself. So I'll just write a few words. Okay, so for example we have abstract, for example we have byte, we have class. You cannot have any variable, any method, or even then you cannot name a class as class. For example, class, you cannot do that. Okay, because it is a reserved word which is used to declare the type of a class that you are declaring. For example, if you want to declare a class that is student. Okay, so how do we tell the compiler that this student is not a variable, this student is not a method, but this student is a class? We use the term class. Okay, so similarly we have do. You have already seen it in the C. Sorry, next is your extend. In the last, like in previous one of our previous lectures, I told you the feature of OOP, where I told you we do the inheritance. Okay, so when you want to inherit the property of previous class to your present class, that means your parent class to your subclass, then we use the keyword extends. So many students just write extend. This is wrong. Okay, so you have to write extends. Extends is used to inherit the property of the parent class to the child class. Okay, so next we have for. Okay, we have import. So now this import, just like your hash include in your C to include libraries, we have import in Java to import packages into our program. So when we import, that means those packages from your Java folder in your C drive has literally been imported in your program. आपके program में that is already there. Okay. So similarly, we have a list of such words. Okay, for example, we also have this public as reserved words. Okay, which is access specifier. Already I told you. For example, protected. Okay, this is again an access specifier. We also have private. Okay, that is also there. New and your one of the important keyword is your new. We have already seen the use of this new keyword. Okay, so this new keyword is used to instantiate an object. That means if you have a class named student, you want to create an object of that class, you have, because you want to create an object of the class, that means you want to add something new to your program. So how do we do that? We do that by calling the new keyword into our program. Okay, so along with this we have a total of 50 keywords. Obviously मैं 50 को पूरा लिख के explain नहीं कर पाऊंगी, so I've just explained a few and you can see the rest of the keywords by yourself. Okay, so this is your keyword. Okay, so next is the identifiers. Okay, so next up we have identifiers. Okay, so what is identifier? So identifiers are the programmer designed tokens. When a programmer designs some tokens, this is called as your identifier. Go with the term. Identifier comes from the word identify. Okay, so what is the issue? So we have tokens, we have 50 in reserved words, we have 50 tokens. So what are the possible issues with lexically? What are the possible syntactical error that you can give with 50 keywords? The issue would be if you use it as keyword, fair enough. For example, byte a, you have declared one variable of type byte. But now if you will do, for example, void, you want to declare a method, okay, void byte, it will give you an error like this. Okay, so this is the issue. Reserved words are for some specific reserved purpose. You cannot use it for something else. Okay, so there are a total of 50 keywords. So now identifier is used to identify, and it is for programmer. It is for programmers. Okay, so what do I mean by programmers? When a programmer writes some program, they want to design different types of tokens. Okay, so what are those tokens in Java? We have already I've already said this, I think, hundreds of times. Class Java has. Okay, so methods, variables, objects. You can, yes, in Java you can create your own package. I don't know in C if you can create your own library or not. Okay, so in Java you can create your own package. Okay, etc, etc. There are so many things in Java. Okay, interface is there that if I tell you will not be able to link right now. In few coming chapters we will study. There is also interface in Java. You also have labels. Labels are like buttons, checkboxes, etc, etc. If possible, we'll see one or two program. Okay, for one program, because labels are of so many types. In this semester, we'll not be able to cover all of them. I'll teach you one, and I'll tell you all this exists. You can do self-study of that. Okay, for your project, for your future purpose. So these are all the things, and these are all the tokens that a programmer needs. Okay, programmer will create of their own, and it is needed by the programmer to write and develop a program. Okay, so such things are called as your identifiers. So there are certain rules for identifiers. For example, for class, we have already discussed, your class name can have one special characters, your underscore, but it cannot have a dash. Okay, your class can have numbers and alphabets. Okay, but it cannot, the class name cannot start with numbers. It can have numbers, but it must start with alphabets. Okay, it can have capital, small alphabets, capital alphabets. It can have a special character in the form of underscore, not dash. Okay, and then it can have numbers. So there are list of rules for declaring classes. Okay, similarly we have rules for declaring variables. You already know that. For example, you cannot name you cannot have a method name starting with special characters or numbers again. Okay, so these are the various rules that you already know from C. Okay, so you need to identify it. Okay, what are the different things that a programmer would not need, variables, methods, etc., etc. And they can have, always remember, they can have alphabets. Okay, they can have digits, and they can have underscore. What, when I say they, what do I mean? I mean class, variables, methods, labels, package, interface, and what else? Variables. I wrote variables, objects. Okay, all this. All of these can have alphabets, digits, underscore, and yes, you can also have $sign. Okay, I forgot it to mention it before. You can also have $sign. Apart from these two special characters, you cannot use any other special characters. Okay, and then they must, the second rule of identifier says they must start with alphabets. Now this alphabets could be a capital letter or small letter, but they cannot start with numbers. Okay, they cannot start with numbers. So now in the third, we have uppercase and lowercase letters are different. For example, if you create a class with capital letter student and you are creating an object with small letter student, it will give you an error because it is case sensitive. Okay, Java is case sensitive. In Java, it is said that it can be of any length. Okay, bola jata hai, it can be of any length. I have not tried, but it is said in Java. In, I think, C, you have restricted number of characters which you can assign to declare a variable. But in Java, you can have it of any length. Okay, so now this is all about your identifiers. When you start writing your program, the first thing that you must do is you must identify all these things: how many classes you need, how many variables you need, how many methods you need. You identify it, and these are the rules for identifiers. So what is the issue with it? So now if you name a class, okay, so let us say you have declared a class and you have named it as toStudent. So this is an issue. You cannot name it as toStudent. But if you have already student1 and you want to write down student2 class, this is acceptable now. This is the issue that you must take care of in identifiers. Okay. Identifier are for class, interface, variables, class interface variables, objects, methods, labels, and what else? Class interface variables, objects, methods, labels. Did I miss anything? I think this is all. Okay, so this is it. Okay, so third up we have literals. Third we have literals. Okay, so what is literals? Okay, so literals in Java is a sequence of characters. Now when I say characters, I don't specifically mean A, P, P, L, E, apple. This is again a sequence of character. In case of literals, मैं ऐसा वाला sequence नहीं बोल रही हूँ. It could be sequence of characters mean A, P, P, L, E 1246 rupees. This is again sequence of characters. Right now, by characters I mean this. Okay. So in Java, literal is a sequence of characters. This could be digits, letters, and any other. Sorry. Any other form of literals. Okay. So what does it represent? This represents some constant values that you have stored in a variable. For example, like this. Now this is stored here, and now this becomes my literal. So now in character B, if you have stored apple, so apple is in B. Okay, so now this sequence of character APPLE is my literal. So this digit is stored in A. So now this one is my apple, and we do this in our program. Okay, we need to do this in our program. So now Java has 5 specific types of literals. Java के पास 5 specific types of literals है. Okay, so let me write down what are they. One is your integer literal. Another is your floating point literal, integer, float, and then we can have character. Like always, we have Boolean literal. Okay, so these are the 5 different types of literals in Java. So what are the possible issues that you can have with this one? Okay, so these are the Java tokens under literals. So how इसमें क्या पढ़ना है? We already know. Okay, क्या issue हो सकता है? There could be an issue, and that is if you have declared it as integer, and if you try to store a float in here, so obviously it will give you an error. Okay, so this is the different issues that you may have. Like in floating, if you store integer, no issues, but in floating, if you try to store character, there is a problem. In character, if you try to store string, problem. In string, if you try to store boolean, problem. In boolean, if you try to store any of this, there is a problem. Okay, so these are the issues, and you must handle this definition of such things or assigning values to these types of literals carefully. Okay, so this is the token under literal, and this is the related issue that you must take care. Okay, so with this we have finished literals. Okay, so next up we have operators. Okay, so what is an operator? We all know that operator is a symbol. Operator क्या है? It's a symbol. Sometimes it takes just one argument, or sometimes it takes more than one argument. For example, in for loop, you have already seen I++, or let me write down here. You most of the time you use I. So let me write down I. So it is an operator that tells that we need to increment it. Okay, so inside for, if you write down this one, it will give you an error. So this is the associated issue. You must take care of it, and you must write it like this. And then if you have a variable named as sum, in sum, if you write down A+, it will again give you an error, because now this operator calls for 2 variables, A plus B. So now this will not give you an error. Okay, so that is your operator and the related issues. Okay, so next is your separator. Okay, so next up we have separator. So separator, I'm going to write it down here. I'm writing it this way so that those who are taking screenshot for notes purpose, they can have something. Okay, so now separator, as the word says, this is used to separate the meaning of something from the other, or to separate different values within one variable. For example, in a for loop, you want to separate 3 different segments. Okay, the initialization, the comparison, and the increment decrement operator. So how do you separate them? With the help of a comma. Okay, and then now you have I've told you in the last lecture, you can have a class or a package name with a word. For example, you can name a method as get, but you can also have a class name as class get. So how do you separate how do you separate these 2 things? You can separate this with, when you name a package, you name it with capital letter. When you name a class, you name it with small letter. When you name a method, you must have a pair of parentheses. Okay, so such types of separators are used to distinguish or to distinctly define different meanings in languages. Okay, sometimes it comes in the form of semicolon, sometimes in the form of parentheses, etc., etc. Okay, For example, how do you get separate different classes? When you start a class, you start a pair of you start it with curly braces. When you stop the class, you close the curly brace. When you want to start a new class, you open a new braces, like that. Okay, so what all do we have? We have parentheses. Okay, so now this we have a pair of parentheses. Always it is used for methods, it is used to declare a block, it is used to declare a method, it is used बाकी कहाँ पे use हो सकता है? Parentheses. As of now, I'm only able to recall in methods. Okay. Yes, in constructor and in destructor as well. Okay. So next up we have a pair of braces. Pair of braces. There are so many. You widely used it in after you declare your methods. When you have to declare a block, you use it. Okay. So that block could be the class. That block could be a method. Okay. So what is the issue? If you open it, if you don't close it, there is the issue. So you must handle it. Okay. So next we have we call it as square brackets. Okay. This one is your parenthesis. This one is your curly bracket. This is your square brackets or just brackets. Okay. This you can use it to declare arrays and all. Okay. If you want to declare any variable as array, we use this one. Okay. So next is semicolon. So when you want to terminate a line, we use semicolon. If you don't want to terminate a line, you don't use semicolon. For example, integer a, you want to terminate it, you put semicolon. Void get, you want to terminate it, you put semicolon. That means there is no body for that method. But you want to give some method, body to that method. You want that method to perform some function operation. Then we don't put semicolon. So the line will not be terminated. The line will continue unless the block is closed. Okay. So next is comma. You can use it to separate different variable declaration. You can use it to separate different segments of loops and all. Okay. So next is your dot. This we have discussed in, I think, lecture 1 or in previous lecture as well. It is the dot operator. It is used in many places. One of it is as a message carrier. When we have dot operator, we from that line some message is passed on to that line to that line which you have mentioned in the first section of dot operator. For example, if you have done obj, okay, object का नाम डाला obj dot get, so that means you're passing that information to get method. Okay, so like that. Okay, so that is the list of your separators. Now you tell me, is this topic clear? Java tokens and lexical issues, is it clear, or do you have any doubt from here?
Clear, ma'am.
Okay, thank you. Others, please quickly write in the chat box. Thank you, everyone. So next up we have, again, the next topic. I'm not going to focus much in it. Okay. You are in master's third semester. That means in master's itself, you have studied it 2 times, maybe in different subject, one in C, again in C lab. Okay. And then you must have used it in data structure lab. Okay. So second semester में बाकी क्या होता है? So in MCA, as per my knowledge only, you have already done it 3 times in 3 semesters. That means 1.5 years. And prior to it, though, if there is anyone from other background or not, I do not know. But if you are from computer background, then you have already used it multiple number of times in your bachelor's. Okay. So for that reason, I'm not going to go in detail in this topic. I'll just tell you what all is there in Java. Okay. So what I'm talking about here is your Java statements. Okay. So what are the various Java statements? Okay. So now Java statements are like any natural languages. Okay, so like when you do something, like if you are telling your mom, Mom, if she's going to market, you feel hungry, then you call her, you tell her, Mom, get me Maggie. If Maggie is not available, get me Maggie. If Maggie is not available, get me momos. Okay, so that is your if else. Okay, and then you stay in hostel. You need to wash your clothes. Okay, so on Saturdays or Sundays, let's say you wash your clothes. So you have a lot of clothes. So in iterative manner, to all the clothes you put soap, you wash it, you put soap, you wash it, like that. Okay, so you are doing something in iterations. Okay, or if some guests are coming to your home, so to every individual guest that is coming to your home, you need to offer water. So that means you're doing the same task over and over again. Okay, so now the next example could be so that's for your for loop. Earlier was for your if else. Okay, so now you want to print results. Okay, so you have list of subjects, so you want to put it in one block. So what do we have switch. Okay, so now you want that result to be printed only for 100 number of students. You want to control it. How do you do it? We use break inside if, we use break inside if else, we use break inside switch. In switch, if you have 5 statements, out of 5 only one will execute. So how do you stop the rest of the blocks, switch statements to from executing? You put the break. Okay, you have already studied all this in C. So I'm just going to write down what all are there now. Okay, so in Java statements, we have first expressions. We have first here expression statements. Okay, so next up we have labeled statements. Okay, so third we have control statements. Okay, so fourth up we have some synchronized statement, like I will want this one to execute and then next. Okay, synchronized we'll study when we'll study multi-threading. Okay, etc. So now again this control, okay, again this control statement is divided into selection statement, next is your iteration statement, third is your jump statement. Remember, in C, I think you have your go-to statement, okay, which skips all the line in between and jumps and goes to a particular line, okay. But in Java, it is believed that that increases the complications of the program when you jump. That means you are not following the sequence of flow. You are asking the program to go from here and there, so you do not know how will it behave. So whenever a program is submitted, we cannot predict the behavior of the program. If we have goto, it will continue to jump. Okay, so because of that reason, goto is not there in the Java. So for that we have different things to jump, so that we are seeing here. Okay, so under selection you have, like, if something is there and it's for example, if a number is divisible by 12. Okay, so you want to check it, so you want to select that. So for that we have if. So now if we have okay, if noodles is there, get me noodles. If not, you are hungry, you want to eat something, right? In that case we have else. So we have Sorry, class. My Wi-Fi got down. So now tell me. So these are the list of various Java statements. Okay, बहुत सारे Java statements है which you have studied and used more than 100 number of times. You have used for more than 100 number of times. You have used break statement in switch. You have
Ma'am.
used, yeah.
Your screen is not visual.
Acha, sorry, sir. Okay, so I think my Wi-Fi is down, was down for only 2 minutes, less than 2 minutes. I quickly connected to another network. So ये सब जितना भी पढ़ाया वो तो आप लोगों ने सुन लिया था ना? Class, from this screen, whatever I have taught, you have heard all of this, right? Because as far as my knowledge, it was only down for like 2 to 3 minutes. Yes or no?
No, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
अच्छा, कहाँ तक सुना?
Ma'am,
How far have you?
And the controller.
अच्छा, jump तक. अच्छा, अच्छा. Jump. Okay, so let me repeat jump then. Okay, so the fourth is your the last type of statement is your jump statement. Okay, sorry, ये jump यहाँ पे नहीं है. So jump comes under your iteration. Jump does comes here under synchronous, it doesn't comes. It comes under iteration. So the jump statement is a replacement for your go-to statement in C. Okay, go-to complex tha, that's why we have jump statement. Under jump we have break. You have used it in switch. Out if you have 10 cases in switch and if your condition is satisfied here, then you want to just break from the switch loop. You can want to come out. You do not want to exit the rest. So we have break there. Okay. So now next is your continue. You want to look for something and then you want to continue from there. Okay, so for that we have the continue. For example, you can also have continue in switch. So let us say this is your case 1, case 2, case 3, case 4, case 5, case 6. So now if you have case 4, in case 4, if your search is satisfied in your switch, then it will come out. Afterwards break hoga, then your 5 and 6 will not execute. But if you put here continue, okay, anyhow, if you want all of your cases to be executed, if you want all of your cases to be executed, in case 4 of your switch, instead of break, put your continue. Then it will continue to execute the rest of the cases. Okay, so return you already know. If you want to return some value, if आप किसी भी method से कुछ भी return करना चाहते हो, then we have the return. Okay, so I'm not showing you and discussing each one like if का statement लेके considering one example, the syntax I'm not showing you because you have already used all of this more than 100 number of times considering your bachelor's and master's. You have done so many programs, you have used all of this more than 100 number of times. Okay, so now tell me, is your statements clear? Is your for loopy, break, this and that, everything clear from your Java statements?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, others please write in the chat box if it's clear. Okay. Okay, so other girls, is it clear? Girls, Ram, is Ram there? Okay, Anita, thank you. Ram, clear ho gaya? Okay, so let's go ahead. Okay, so the next topic was actually something different, but here I want to talk about, before I move on to next topic, I need to talk about JVM. I want to have one separate 2 minute ka discussion or 5 minutes discussion on JVM, okay? Because the statements you have already done it, so I don't want it to focus in it. You know it. I just wanted to do a revision, but JVM, it must be your first time, okay? So what is your JVM? A JVM, you can say it as a translator of the compiler. Okay. So the full form is Java Virtual Machine. Java Virtual Machine. Okay. What is its job? What is the job of the Java? Okay. First, tell me what is the job of the compiler? Ridhiman, what is the job of the compiler? What does the compiler do? Ridhiman,
Yes, ma'am.
what does the compiler do?
Bytecode convert into machine language.
No. No, Ram, you're wrong. It compiles very good. Rizwana is correct. Okay, your compiler converts your Java code into bytecode. How does the bytecode looks like? That I'll show you in one of the coming lectures. अभी वहाँ पे थोड़ा पहुँचे नहीं हैं हम, तो कैसे दिखता है मैं आपको बाद में बता दूँगी. Okay, so now after your program is converted by the Java compiler into your bytecode, source code को bytecode में जब convert कर दिया आपके compiler ने, that is when your JVM comes into picture. Okay, that is when your JVM comes into picture. This has to be installed. Okay, this has to be installed, and your bytecode is an intermediate code. Always remember what is a bytecode. It is an intermediate code. ये बीच का code है because it is neither source code, because it is neither your source code, it is not your machine code. So what is a bytecode? It is an intermediate code. बीच का code है ये. So to convert this bytecode into machine code in Java, we need Java virtual machine. Okay, and it is called as your this Java virtual machine. The process of converting this bytecode into machine code, that machine is called as your interpreter. The term there, for example, source code to bytecode, the technique is compilation. So bytecode to machine code, the technique is your interpreting. Okay, who does it? It is done by your Java virtual machine. Okay, so where does your Java virtual machine reside? It only resides in the computer memory. Okay, that means it only resides in So is it clear now? Remember, Java source code into your source code into your bytecode into your machine code. Okay, so now source code to bytecode. Okay, source code to bytecode is done by your compiler, Java compiler, and then your bytecode to machine code is done by your virtual machine. Okay, it is done by your virtual machine. So what is the name of this virtual machine in Java that converts your bytecode into machine code? The name of the virtual machine is JVM. Where does it reside? It resides in the main memory. Okay, it resides in the main memory because to run any program, that program must be loaded into the main memory. I think I taught you operating system APK batch code, so you already know it. Okay, so have you understood Java virtual machine now?
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you, Madan. Others, have you understood Java virtual machine now? ये बहुत बार पूछते हैं. Okay, thank you everyone. So let's go on to another small topic now. So the small topic, the next topic that we are going to study now is Java constants, variables, and data types. You need to pay attention in data types in Java, okay, because it's different. And also in variables, because one more thing is added into Java variables, and that you will not find in C, because it is an object-oriented programming language. So because of that reason, we have one more type of variables in Java that you may not find in C. But because I'm not very good at C, so I'll not be able to tell you if it's really there or not. You are better judge. You are a better judge in that. Okay. So let's start with your Java constants first. Okay. So constants, everybody know. So just tell me, any one of you can tell me or give me an example of constant. Constant तो सबको पता ही है. Anyone? What is a constant?
Whose value cannot change.
Very good, right? A constant is a fixed value. जो static dynamic नहीं है, which cannot be changed. Okay, so that is your constant. A constant in Java could be of different types. For example, if it is an integer, okay, so if it is an integer, we can have 1, okay, which is a real number. Okay, you can have a float. Okay, so if it's a integer constant, okay, if it is a integer constant, then we can have a number, okay, positive number. We can have a negative number. We can have 0 as a constant. We can have a decimal point as a constant. Let us say 11.12. Okay, so all of these are your decimal. All of these are your integer constants. Okay, so now but when we say this float number, okay, all of these are constant. When we say this one, this comes under your real constant because it is in float. We have already studied in mathematics, okay, real constants. Sorry, so we can say that your Java constant, okay, Java constant is divided into, because we also have characters, okay, is divided into numeric constants and your character constants. And your character constants, okay. So your numeric constants is again divided into integer constants, which I've already shown here, okay, and your real constants. Real constants are this one with float or with decimals, okay. So character constant, for example, I can have in a character A, I can store B. In character B, I can store dollar. In character B, I can store what else? Anything. I can store underscore. I can store dash in character. Okay, so that is your character constant. A, I can store one single character. I can store a dollar. Okay, I can store what else? क्या होता है और characters? You can store a hash. You can store a plus operator, etc., etc. So that is your under character constants. You can have some character constants. Okay, a single character constant. Again, in character constants, for example, if you have string A, if you have string A, if you have string A, in this string A, you can store RAM Ray. Okay, so you can store RAM Ray. So this also comes under your characters. When we involve not numbers, okay, ये है numeric, ये है character. Okay, so we have character, we have numeric. Under numeric, we have integer, we have real. Under character, we have character, and we can have a string of characters, which is called as string. Okay, so this is your Java constants. Okay, we can have backslash, we can have underscore, dash, parenthesis, etc., etc. as your character, which you often use in your switch statements. Okay, so is Java constants clear to you all? ये Java constant clear हुआ सबको? Okay, thank you everyone. So now thank you for your confirmation. So now let's go for variables. Okay, अभी तक उतना टफ तो नहीं बोल सकती हूँ. अभी तक उतना जावा कोर जावा वाला टॉपिक has not come. Okay, so it's going to be easy for you. So that's why you are being able to understand it very quickly. So we will not spend much time here, so that when you don't understand a Java related topic, we can have plenty of times to repeat the topic over and over again. Okay, so now next is here we are done with constants. So next up we have variables. Okay, so now variable, we already know that if we want to store anything, how do we store it in memory? Okay, so if you want to store anything in the memory, how do we do it? Because we have already studied in operating system, we cannot access the main memory. Okay, we cannot access the location of the main memory. Then how, without accessing the location of the main memory, how do we store it? And then how can we call the location? Okay, if I have stored here, let us say 2. And if the operating system have named this location as, let us say, 129, but I do not know the name of this location is 129. So how do I do it? And also I have been restricted to use it, security purpose. So how do I do it? For that, every language has proposed a technique called as variables. So we simply name this particular location because we are not allowed to see it. Operating system handles it by mapping it equals to A. Okay, but we have named it as A. For us, this is not everything. For us, this is simply A. Okay, so now I declare a variable. So every variable will have some type. If you want to store some integer value, you will name it as integer. If you want to store some character value, you will name it as character. If you want to store some float value, you will name it as float. So simply, what is a variable? A variable is an identifier. Remember, identifier. What is identifier? We have just studied it in Java tokens. It is something that is defined by the programmer. Okay, so it denotes a storage location where we use it to store some value. What is a variable? Often used, students are asked in the Viva and they cannot answer it. A variable is an identifier. Identifier is programmer defined. It is one of the lexical issues, and this variable is used to store some values in the memory. Okay, so now this is one of the examples. So this is my A location. I want to store here 2. So I use the assignment operator and I write down 2. I use another Java tokens, that is your separator semicolon. With this one, the line is terminated and 2 gets assigned to storage A. Okay, so now based upon where this variable lies, your variables in Java is defined as 3 types. There are 3 types of variables in Java. Let's see it one by one. The first is your instance variables. The second is your class variables. The third is your local variables. Okay. So simply, I'm going to explain it in the simple way possible. Okay. Let us write a code here. Class A. Okay. Integer A. Say void get v equals to we have studied in the last lecture the way to print the way to print or display something. We use the out function. Okay, so we have system.out.print. Okay, so in future for system.out.print, to save my time, I will write it in shortcut SOP. Okay, in future to save my time for writing system.out.println again and again, I'll simply write SOP. Okay, so SOP B. Okay, so I close my class now. Class B, A equals to 3. Okay. Class B equals to 3. Public static void main. I'm writing it in shortcut. Okay. String args. This is the main function. I'm writing it in shortcut to save my time. So let's create an object of this class. Okay, I want to access class A. Let's create an object of it. A, let us say obj, first object I've created. Last lecture we have seen to create an object, we have to use the new operator, and I call the constructor of the class. Okay, I call the constructor of the class. Okay. So now I have here, let us say with this object, I want to assign some values to this A, or I want to access this method. Okay, so I have here obj1 dot get method. Now with this one, the value of B will be printed. Okay, so now I close this main method, or let me assign with obj1 dot, I want to assign to this A. I want to assign this A a value 12. Okay. So now with this program is concluded. The main function is concluded. The class is concluded. So now let me explain variables with this one. Okay. So I have here instance variable. I have here class variable. I have here local variable. I have here local variable. What is an instance variable? The instance word in Java is used for objects. Okay. So here I have created an object 1. So this is a variable. But now this is an object variable. So object ko hum kya bhi bolte hain? We call it also as instance. Okay. So now this is called as your instance variable. Okay, this is called as your instance variable. Instance variables are created when the objects are instantiated. See here, this object 1 has been instantiated by this constructor. A constructor we'll study in the coming chapter when we'll study constructors. Okay, so this is called as instantiation. The moment you call a constructor, the variable, whatever variable it is, it will get instantiated. Okay, so now instance variable are created when the objects, this object is getting instantiated here, and therefore they are associated with the object. Okay, so because of that reason it is associated with the object. So this is your instance variable. So now what is a class variable? A variable, okay, a variable that is local to the class is called as your class variable. If you will see here, this is the scope of the class A. The scope of class A is ending here. So now this particular line will give you an error. Why? Because you are assigning value 3 to value A in another class. Okay, in another class, the declaration of integer A lies in the previous class whose scope is closed here. So when you try to access it, it will give you an error because this is now another class. The scope of this variable is within this class. Now, if you want to access this variable in another class, what you must do? You must create an object. Okay, for that particular class here, A. See, A ka you have created an object. So you are saying with this object, I will access your variables and methods. So with this object, you are access this method here in another class. With this object, you have accessed this variable here. So now because everything in Java is object, when you will access it with an object in another class, this will not give you an error, this is correct. But this one will give you an error because this was local variable and you are directly accessing it. It is not possible. So such types of variable whose scope is within this class, and outside class, if you want to access this variable, you will have to create an object of the class to which that variable belongs, so that we can access that variable with the instance of that class only. That is called as your class variable. Now what is a local variable? Local variable is very simple. Its scope is within this method B. So you cannot assign value to this B here because the scope of the B is within this block. यहाँ पर भी आप access नहीं कर पाओगे because its scope is within this method. Okay, so this is your instance, class, and local variable. Now you tell me, is the variables clear, or should I repeat any of the variable definition of the variable? In the chat box, quickly write down. I need all of you to write down. Okay, I'll explain class variable again. Others? I will explain class variable again. And other student, please confirm. Other than class variable, is it clear to everyone? Okay, Madan, class variable again. Others, class variable, okay. Class variable and local variable, okay. Okay, so I'll repeat these two. Okay, it seems the instance variable or object variable is clear to everyone. So Control Z, Control Z, Z, Control Z, Control Z, Z, Control Z. Okay, so first let me explain local variable because it's very simple. Then I'll focus on class variable again because the definition of this one is a little bit more. Okay, scope is a bit more. Local variable, Rashmi, local variable is very simple. The variable that belongs to a particular method and the scope of which variable is within the scope of the method is called as local variable. For example, so declaration of all the variables cannot declare inside functions, but in Java you can declare your variables wherever you want. For example, inside for you need integer I, you can do it integer here. If you forgot to declare integer here, inside this one also you can do integer I is less than 10, etc. I plus plus. Okay, in Java you can declare variable wherever you want. जब भी आपको variable वहीं पे आप declare कर सकते हो. But be careful with the scope. If you want its scope to be global, then you must declare it in class, so that you can later you can access it with object. So Rashmi, the local variable is those variable which belong to a method. वो वेरिएबल जो सिर्फ उस मेथड का है उसको लोकल वेरिएबल बोलते हैं. सो एक मेथड के अंदर वी हैव डिक्लेयर्ड दिस बी, सो दिस इज योर लोकल वेरिएबल. Okay, so you cannot access this variable from here, you cannot access this variable from another class, even with object. Okay, that is called as local, the scope of which is local to that block. In Java everything is block. Okay, modules है हर चीज. So this the variable whose scope is within one block, this block, it is called as your local, and the block is always a method. It cannot be a class in case of local variable. So Rashmi, unmute your mic. I don't want to go into chat box again. So tell me, is local variable clear?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So now let's go for your class variable. Okay. So class variable, this is your local variable. Inside method is your local variable. The variable that you are using to create a new object is your instance variable. So what is left? The variables that we will use to assign values, for which the scope is throughout your program. This kind of scope is throughout your program, is global. Okay, in your C language, for which the scope is global, is called as your class variable. For example, integer A, you have declared it in this class. See here, your integer A is declared in one class and it has been used beyond this class in another class. Okay, this is called as your class variable. But there is a way to access this class variable. If you will declare it in one class, if you will assign value in another class directly like this, it will give you an error. Why? Because the scope of variable has been closed here. It was opened here, it is closed here. But now this is an object-oriented class. If you want to assign value to this variable from another class, and because it is a global variable, what you can do is you create an object. You create an object of the previous class. You create an object of this here. A is the previous class. You create this object in the current class. आप अभी के current के B class में आप previous class का object बना रहे हो. So now in this current class, you can assign values to this variable, this method. अब आप इस class में इस class के variable और method को value डाल सकते हो. But how? Not like this. Java does not allow this. Java allows this by this way. Object name or instance variable. Okay, instance variable dot variable or dot method. So now if you'll see here, this variable, now see here, this method or this variable now is a global variable or global method because it was declared in the previous class whose scope was already closed here, and you are using this variable and method beyond this class in another class. This is called as your class variable whose scope is within the class, and also if you want to access is beyond, then you can do that, convert that class variable into global variable by creating an object and accessing the class variable with the help of the object that you have created. If you will not access, अगर आप ये A को यहाँ पे access नहीं करोगे, then this A is a class variable. सिर्फ यहाँ तक यूज कर रहे हो, class variable हो गया. You want to convert this class into global, you can do so by calling that variable into another class with the help of the object. In that case, now this variable has become a global variable. लेकिन यहाँ तक यूज करके छोड़ दिया. If you print SOP A here, okay, SOP, if you print here SOP A, this will also get printed because this is a class variable and this method is within this class. Okay, that is also possible. From another class also it's possible, but because it's not global, you have to make it global. How? By calling the object. Okay, creating the object and calling with the help of the object. So is it now clear?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
अगर क्लियर नहीं है तो जबरदस्ती क्लियर मत बोलो, मैं फिर से एक्सप्लेन करूंगी.
Clear, ma'am.
Okay, okay, okay. So everyone's clear now. Okay. So the next topic is variable. Yeah. Now the next topic is your data types. Okay. The next topic. See here, we have discussed constants. We have discussed. We have discussed constants. We have discussed variables. Local, global. Global is converted variable from your class only. Okay. Now we are data type. So to discuss data type, I'm going to clear this board. Okay. Okay, so for this one, allow me to use, इसमें थोड़ा slow हो जाएगा. Allow me to use Word file. Okay. Is my Word file visible, class?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So let's use Word for this one. It will be easier for me. So your Java data types. Okay. So I have your data types in Java. Your data types in Java is broadly, okay, is divided into two types. Okay, is broadly divided into two types. The first type is your primitive data types. Okay, is your primitive data types. So I'm just going to write down primitive only. So another data type is your non-primitive data type. Non-primitive data type. So can anyone tell me the English meaning of primitive? English meaning क्या होता है primitive? Under primitive, I have numeric. Under primitive, I have numeric. Okay. And the other data type that I have is numeric and non-numeric. एक होता है numeric and the other is your non-numeric under your primitive. Okay. Under your non-primitive, I have data type class that we have already seen. Okay, classes to declare a new class. We have this class as the data type. Another is your interface. Okay, this we will see in the coming future. Interface is just like your class, we can say that we will see in the future. The third is your arrays. So these are the data types that were not previously considered data types in other languages, but is considered data types in Java. Okay. So under non-numeric, I have string and I have character. I have string and I have character. Character, non-numeric, sorry, no, string is not a data type in Java, sorry. And your Boolean. Okay, under non-numeric, I have character and I have Boolean. Okay, so now under numeric, I have integer, I have float. I have integer, I have float. So these are the data types in Java. Okay, so these are the data types in Java. These are the data types. Okay, so now what is a primitive data type? Non-primitive data type. Go with the English name. Okay, so primitive means anything that has been in the existence since starting. जो भी पुराने जमाने का है, which is there since long. For example, these are the data types that were there in C. Okay, that were there in C++, and that are also there in other languages. Okay, that is your primitive. That's there since starting. So what all primitive data types we have? That means what are the data types that were there in other languages, and also the Java has it. These are numeric data type. Okay, so numeric data type and the non-numeric data type. Numeric and the non-numeric. Under numeric data type, primitive data types, we have under numeric data types, we have insert shapes. Why is it not coming? I have integer, you know integer from C, okay, and I have float. That is there in your C, and that is also that was there in C, and that is also there in your Java. So that is your primitive. Under non-primitive, we have character and we have Boolean. So do you have character and Boolean in C? Yes. So do we have character and Boolean in Java? Yes. Was C there before? Yes. So that is your primitive. But now those data types that were not there in C, that means these are the new data types. So what are these? The classes. Classes is used to declare, okay, integer is used to declare an integer variable and store a value. Classes are used to declare a class and store variables and methods. Okay, so interface is also a type of class, but class is in detail. Okay, and we also have array data. Now array is a class that has been already included in the package. Package में already array करके declare करके डाल चुके. We can directly import it. Okay, so that is the reason array is also a data type in Java, and it is non-primitive because array class was not present in the previous libraries, and it has been included in the Java. Okay, so I need not tell you that under integer we have further characterization, that is a byte, short and long. We know that in integer the smallest form is a byte, and then we have short, and then we have integer, and then we have long. Okay, we know that byte stores. We know that in integer, again your integer is divided into byte, short, integer, long. Right? We already know this. We know this byte stores 1 byte of data. If I have byte A, if I have byte A, that means I can store in A only 1 byte data, 1, 2, 3, like that. Okay. If I have short, I can store 2 byte of data. That is, the length is from minus 32,000 plus to plus 32,000. Okay. So integer can store 4 bytes. You already know the range. Long stores 8 bytes. Okay, long stores 8 bytes. Okay, so now this is for your integer. For float, what do we have? For float, again, you already know we have two. There are 4 types of integer and there are 2 types of float. Okay, so the first float is the float itself. The first float is the float itself, and it stores 4 bytes. The second is the double. The second is if your float or decimal point is very big, then we go for double. Then it uses 8 byte of your memory storage. Okay, so this is array. So this is the type of your float. Okay, range, etc., that you can study on your own. Okay, so third up we had character. Third up we have character, and then a character takes 2 bytes of your memory. That means if you have character A, the moment you declare character A in the memory, 2 bytes of memory will be stored for this variable. Okay, so now next is I have boolean. Next up I have boolean. So for boolean I have, we already know, only 2 values. That is your true. If we have true, it is equals to 1. That means, okay, if I have false, it means it equals to 0. Okay, these are the 2 types of boolean in Java, and I think it is also there in your C. Okay, and what is the, I think you already know how much byte does a boolean needs. Can you tell me how much storage memory location does a boolean value requires to store values?
1 byte.
Very good. Very good. Very good. Okay. So this is the smallest one. Okay, boolean is the smallest one, and it only requires 1 bit. That means only 1 flip-flop. 1 flip-flop is sufficient to store boolean because it is either 1 or 0, and it is 1 bit value. So it requires only 1 bit, 1 flip-flop. Okay. So is it clear? Data types. Are data types clear to you all?
Yes, ma'am.
Everyone, please write down if data type is clear to you all. Chandni, yes. Rudiman, yes. Kashmir, yes. Ramli, Shivam. Anita, is it clear? Anita, is it clear? Anita? Can anyone from you call Anita and her to attend the lecture? और जैसे ही उन्होंने जो क्लास में आए, टेल हर टू अनम्यूट हर माइक एंड कॉल मी. मतलब फोन में नहीं, यहाँ पे अनम्यूट करके यस मैम बोले. Can does any one of you have the number of Anita? Okay, so Shivam, please call Anita right away because she has been doing this since last semester. She joins the lecture and then she doesn't stays in the lecture. She just joins and leaves to give her attendance. So call her right now and tell her ma'am is calling her name over and over again. So the moment she is there, joins the lecture, tell her to call my name. Okay, मुझे ma'am करके बुलाएं. Till then, and I'll continue the lecture. So now with this, we have finished different types of data type in Java. In Java, the data type has been broadly divided into primitive and non-primitive. Primitive means those which were already there in the past languages. That means जो उनके parents they've been borrowed from. Non-primitive means the data types that has been newly included in the Java. That means those that were not considered data types in previous languages and but has been considered data types in Java. Okay, so now the second topic that we are going to discuss is a small topic. Okay, small topic, and you have studied this in C again. You have this in C also. Okay, that is your typecasting. Can anyone from the audience tell me what is typecasting? And I'll see if you know, then I'll directly give the syntax. If you don't, then I'll put it in C. Anyone from the audience knows typecasting? अगर नहीं पता है तो chat box please write down no so that I can. Okay, Rijwana, Rashmi. What about boys?
No, ma'am.
Okay. Okay, so let's proceed. So type it just it's कोई भी there are different let us say for anything there are different types. Okay, so what is casting in English? Cast means to change the form. The English meaning of cast is change. Okay, so we want to change the form of, we want to change the form of type. What type are we talking about here? The type that we are talking about here is data type. Okay, data type. So typecast is when we want to change the form, of the data types. So why would we change the type of the data form? So let us assume a situation wherein one software 2 years back. Okay, and then the job of the software is to keep count of the user. The users are there, its job is to keep the count. So it uses the variable count. So let's say the software has been developed using Java. So the developer had declared this count variable as byte. Okay, 2 years back. So it can store. Okay, so that means it can store the values to only the range from -128 to +127. Byte का तो नहीं store करता, it can store 128 values. Okay, +128. So in 2 years, let us say the strength of the user has gone to 1 lakhs. 1 lakhs. So can this count variable store this value anymore now? From 128, can it go up? Can it go up? Okay. So if it can or if it cannot, then we should let the program. We should handle this problem. Okay. So for that, what should we do now? We should cast or change the form of this byte. Okay. So there are two ways in which typecasting is done. In this situation, we need to convert this byte into integer. But byte, short, integer, long, all of these are integer type. Bas iska range is like for byte the range is small and for double the range is big. But this typecasting, changing the form is inside one form only. एक ही type के we are changing the form within one type and the type is integer. This byte, short, integer, double comes under integer data type. So if we are changing the form, now we are changing this byte into integer. So if we are changing this form within a data type, integer data type के अंदर byte से हम we are converting it into integer. So if we are converting within, then the typecasting will be done by the Java automatically, and that typecasting is called as your automated typecasting. Okay, it's called as your, let me erase the board. Is called as your automatic typecasting. Okay. Automatic typecasting. Automatic typecasting will happen within one type. For example, if you want to convert within byte, short, integer, and long, Java will do it automatically. Okay, we often encounter situation when there is a need to store a value of one type into a variable of another type. Okay, एक type से another type में जब करना हुआ, we need to perform the typecasting. Okay, so it is of two type. One is your automatic typecasting, another is your manual typecasting. So what is automatic typecasting? For some type, it is possible to assign a value of one type of variable of a different type without a cast. Okay, we don't need to cast it. So ये कैसे होता है? The conversion is done automatically by the Java, and it happens within one data type. For example, your byte and integer. If you have declared a variable as byte A, okay, so it can store up to plus 128. But now the value has gone to 256. Okay, so you can store 256 here. Java has converted this byte as integer. Automatically उसने integer को बना के store कर दिया है. But now if it was your byte or integer or short or long, जो byte का ही type है, let us say here I had 12. Now I want this A to store not a integer data type but a float data type. If I'll expect that Java will again do it automatically, then it is wrong. It will give you an error. In such case, now you need to perform manual typecasting. You need to change the form of this float as float, and you need to do it manually. Okay, so to perform manual typecasting, this manual now typecasting is now if. That means I have data type here integer, I have data type here float, or if you have string. If you want to do it within, it has 4 types. Float has 2 types, float and long. String has 2 types, character and string. Now, if you want to perform conversion within, you need not do it. It will be done automatically by the automatic typecasting. String में नहीं होगा. For character you have to do it because string is complex. Okay, you have to do it for string. But now, if you want to do it inter, now it's not, it's intra. It will be automatic. Now you want to do it inter or from within string. You want to do it from character to string, string to character. Now this has to be done manually. Okay, So to do that, we have a syntax that is your to perform manual typecasting. Before I give you the syntax for manual typecasting, is it clear what is typecasting? Why do we need typecasting? What is automatic typecasting? यहाँ तक clear है? वरना फिर से मुझे repeat करना पड़ेगा. Vidiman is clear? Okay, so let me tell you now how do we perform manual typecasting. Okay, for that I need a board, so I'm going to the board. Okay, so for that we have a syntax. I'm going to write that syntax now. I've already told you when do we need manual typecasting, so I'm not going to repeat it now. The syntax is, first of all, you have to write the type of variable one to behave. For example, integer A to integer A. Okay, so now you need to write the type here. For example, if you want to convert it to float, then you need to write float here. Type the variable to which you want to convert it into. Okay, and then variable you need to store. Convert variable into float and you store it in here. Let's see one simple example. Okay, let's see one example now. So this is your syntax. Type variable 1 equals to type variable 2. Okay. So now let me say that I have here integer I equals to, let us say 2, 3, 4. Okay, now I want to convert this, let us say, integer into short. Okay, integer into short, integer into float, integer into float का क्या होता है इधर long उधर double anything. So how do you do it? You write down to which you want to convert. Okay, for example, short you want to convert. To store it, you need a variable. So let us say s. Okay, let us say a actually. S looks more like a string. I want to convert it into short, so I write down here short a. Okay, so now what do I want to do? I write here short this one. I want to convert I, right? Sorry, short okay. So it was originally integer. Okay, it was originally integer. You wanted to convert it into short. So you want to convert I into short. So if you're converting one variable into another, to store it also you need the same data type. So I have here short. Because if you will convert, I is getting converted into short data type here. So you did convert I into short. But if you store it in integer A, it will give you an now data type I has already been converted into short and you are storing it in a variable named integer. So it's an error. Why? Because it's short, you are storing it in integer. Okay. So now if you want to store it as, let us say, float. So I write down here float A because I need float variable to store a float data type. Okay. So I'll write down here float. So that means now this I which was originally integer has been converted into float now with this. Okay, has been converted into float. So in which variable do you store a float value? You store a float value in a float variable. So I have declared a float variable here. Okay, so this is the way to perform typecasting. Manually you can perform typecasting like this. So is it clear, typecasting?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so everyone's clear. So let me check if your attendance is stored. Okay, Anita.
Yes, ma'am.
Anita, I've noticed it in the last semester and I've noticed it in this semester as well. Okay, so you turn on your mic. This is, if this was for the first time, I would have said okay. Last lecture maybe what I last lecture when I was asking students to give the summary, I called your name for like a lot number of times. You didn't respond. In between also I called your names, you didn't respond, and this is not the first time, second time or third time. So don't give me the reason the network is bad. I know the reason. You join and you do something else, you mute the lecture. If you want to do it, don't attend my lecture, because when I call the name of my students, I need to hear them. I want to make sure that everyone is understanding what I'm teaching. So I call your name, you are not there. So I'm not offended if you don't join the lecture, but I'm offended if you join the lecture, you mute me and you go and do your stuff. So have I made myself clear, Anita? Next time I call your name, if you have joined it, you must answer. If the network is not good, then you can write in the chat box, yes ma'am, network is not good. And if it doesn't happen, then I'll report your conduct.
It's nothing like that,
You will
ma'am.
not be allowed
Actually, I have
to
a
attend
condition,
my
ma'am.
lecture. Have I made myself clear, Anita?
But actually, I really had a network issue, ma'am. It's nothing like
Really,
that.
can
I'm
I get it?
ignoring.
Right now, there is no network issue. Right
Even
now,
my friends
you're
also.
okay. And when in the last semester also it had
Ma'am, it's
happened,
breaking. Your
and I
voice is
asked your
breaking.
friend to tell you to join the
No.
lecture, then you've joined. In last semester also it has happened. And when I asked your friend to call you and to and told that person, I forgot who was it, कि Anita को बोलो कि join करे. Then again you joined and you clarified yourself. So whenever you have to clarify, you have the network. Next time I call your name, you better respond. If you cannot, please don't join my lecture. Okay, rest of the class, is it clear whatever topic has been discussed? Is it clear to you all? Anything that I need to repeat? If not, the lecture for the day is over. You may leave the classroom. Those of you who have